Alright guys, so this is your project for the fifth 6 weeks. It is a critical thinking project. It looks very similar to the calculus project for the 6 weeks, but this one is for pre-cal or advanced math. So that's what we're going to be going through. And I'm going to show you exactly what you're going to do on each page. On the first page, it is worth 10 points. And what you're supposed to do, you have these puzzle pieces and you're going to cut them out and you want to make this picture here. Now you need to be very careful when you're cutting this out because if you aren't careful, then when you cut it out, your pieces aren't going to match up like they need to. And you need to make sure that your pieces do match up. You shouldn't have two pieces that are like this to make the lines match up. If you have them like that, instead of being right side by side, then they're not going to be where they need to go. So you'll want to tape or glue it to another piece of paper and then staple it to the front of your project. I would not really recommend doing this at school in 5 minutes because if you cut it out and then you lose a piece, well, you can't finish your puzzle because you're missing a piece. So if you have time to do it at home, I would try to do it at home rather than here at school, just so that you don't end up missing pieces. And also, if it takes you longer to put it together than you were expecting, you don't have to start over later. So if you can do this part at home, I would, or make sure you have plenty of time whenever you get started on it so that you don't have to worry about losing your puzzle pieces, because I've had people lose their puzzle pieces and you don't have to worry about starting back over. Looking at the next page, it's 12 points and there are 12 of them. So each of these is worth 12, is worth 1 point, 12 total for this page. And so you're going to take your figure and you're going to draw it reflected over this line. And so they give you an example. Now on these two, they are shaded in, so when you reflect it, you do need to shade in your picture. Okay? For the next page, you want to continue the patterns that they have. And so you're just going to continue the pattern here, and then you're going to continue the pattern here. Okay? And it tells you at the top that they are worth 2 points each. For the next page, there are two different problems. They're each worth 6 points. So we've got this one up here, and then we've got the one down here. So it says it's okay to go ahead and solve this problem, but first you need to know that each letter represents a digit, and all the O's represent the same digit. O is less than 2. So the digits that are less than 2 are, you should have two of them, 0 and 1. So your O is either a 0 or a 1. And then it tells you that T is greater than 7. So that means that T could be 8 or 9. Okay, and so we're going to have to figure out what numbers go here so that when we add, we end up with a number for go. So O, K, T, O, G, O. Now G, if you end up with a 10 here, that is not one digit. 10 is actually composed of two digits, a 1 and a 0. So if you have a 10 for a G, that's not going to work. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And then the same concept for this one, you have add, for, and sum, and it gives you some clues down here. Okay, so you may have to do some work, and you can do it right here. You can use logic, or you can just try guess and check on some of them, whatever you find that works the best for you. Okay, for the next page, we have word ladders, and so that's where we're going to take the word here, and we are going to try and get all the way down to horse, going from rider to horse by changing one letter at a time. And it says, remember, you must form a real word at each step in your ladder as well. So, to change one letter to go from rider to raver, well, I'm just going to pick another word here. I don't want to help you on that one, but I'm going to pick a word. And we're going to say cool. Okay? And if we're going to change one letter, I could change it to fool. I could have picked anything else, but that would change it. I could have said go to pool and then go to pole and then go to P-O-L-E. Do you see how each time I'm only changing one letter? Let's say I wanted to go from cool to cold. Did I change one letter? No. This L is from the O, and the D is from the L. I changed 2 letters on that one, and so this would not work. You can only change one letter at a time, and every time you have to have real words. So you may want to spend a little bit of time with a dictionary whenever you do this one, looking them up. But these are 8 points. So this one is the longest one on the left, but it also does give you some help. And then some of the other ones take you a little bit longer to think about, possibly. But that's the word plotters. Now we have the golden agers. Now this whole thing is worth 15 points. You've got to figure out the name and the age, the first and the last name and the age that goes for each person. And these are very similar to those logic puzzles that you did in algebra, not the number logic puzzles that y'all have had some for this year that y'all don't like. These are the ones like what you were doing for algebra that most of y'all seem to like. But this one's going to take a little bit of thinking, a little bit of logic to be able to figure it out. Okay, so that's one of the logic puzzles. And then there's another one dealing with football game watchers. It's worth 12 points. It is a little bit easier, so if you want to start with this one, you can, if you think that that'll help you kind of figure out what to do on the other one. And then the last 2 pages are Sudokus. This one is worth 10 points, and then the back one is worth 15 points. This one, they're both labeled number 1. They're not really the same Sudoku. This one is a little bit harder, so you want to start with the other Sudoku first. And it gives you how Sudokus work, but basically, I'm going to look at the other one for you. I'll give you one number. On these, it tells you down here, each row, column, and block all have to contain the digits 1 through 9 only once. So in this block, we don't have the number 1, we have 2, 3, 4, we don't have 5, we have 6, 7, 8, and we don't have 9. So in this block, we need to find where 1, 5, and 9 go. Our 1, 5, and 9 are going to go in these 3 somewhere. And then in each row and column, so in this row, 1 through 9 is going to go 1 time each, and in this column, 1 through 9 is going to go 1 time each. So I'm going to look at this center block. If you see this row, it already has a 9 over here. So that means that there cannot be a 9 that goes in this block, because this row already has a 9, and the column has a 9 too. Looking at this next row, it already has a 9, so that means that there cannot be a 9 that goes here. So that means that the 9 for this block has to go in this spot. Okay? Now there is only one way to solve this, so if you solve it and someone else has something different, then one of y'all has done something wrong. You have duplicated a number somewhere in your blocks. But that's what your project is for the 5th 6 weeks. I hope you like it. It's not, a ton of math per se. It's more, you do have numbers, but it's more dealing with some logic stuff. So anyway, I hope that helps you and you enjoy it.